Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You that chop line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. Covid money, me say we eat the your little rat you. Use the youth, them on the base, almost a man to statue. Say we like a cash, but they got enough, they got you. Take this bit of money, got long and say that it's not you. One day the man above end up, him a got a bet. But it in the kitchen, some a fly well like a patu. The singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% pay.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption face.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out with each.
Yeah.
One as a family. Interesting evening. One for SSL. What about that? It's in a 9
Can't fool me again.
Hold on.
You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You that chop line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. Covid money, me say we eat the your little rat you. Use the youth, them on the base, almost a man to statue. Say we like a cash, but they got enough, they got you. Take this bit of money, got long and say that it's not you. One day the man above end up, him a got a bet. But it in the kitchen, some a fly well like a patu. The singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% pay.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption face.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out with each.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You that chop line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
Me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The already promises, none of them no deliver. Cut up the youth and rap and they down in our river. Member bowl honey and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell go mash up people stand and thief where them sell.
It burn me.
On the treat the market man.
It burn me.
On them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
On them treat the peanut man.
It burn me.
On them a treat the dirt man.
It burn me.
On them a treat the sun man.
It burn me.
On them a treat policeman.
It burn me.
How them a treat soldier man.
It burn me.
How them a treat everyone. Wow, family. Give thanks to everybody. But they are so manners and respect. We're gonna have a little discussion as a family. People who never wonder today, you know, the Prime Minister of Jamaica. May I give it to you guys straight? And this is coming from nationwide, you know. So holiness concern about the JLP's decline in the poll. So that is what is in nationwide. So the Prime Minister is concerned about his decline in the poll, my people. So, I'm going to play something for what the Prime Minister said caused that. He must say something caused that, you know, or something caused it. So, let me read a little bit and then I play. The governing Jamaica Labour Party is concerned about the slip in public opinion polls. JLP leader and Prime Minister Andrew One says the government must recalibrate in the period of midterm blues. Ha ha ha.
Mr. Onus offered the concession while addressing a media briefing at the office of the Prime Minister on Thursday. He says the lagging effects of the pandemic are having an impact on the mood of the public. We'll go and play this. Anyway, people, hold on there.
Obviously, the fatigue would have worsened. So obviously, the fatigue would have worsened. So the answer to you is yes, we are concerned, but it is not that we did not expect it. We did expect, and a part of our response has to be a recalibration in how we communicate. We can't take it for granted that people understand what is happening. So we have to be very explicit in our communications to people.
Hold on, I'm going to think so we hear that real good. So we're going to play that again.
So obviously, the fatigue would have worsened. So the answer to you is yes, we are concerned, but it is not that we did not expect it. We did expect, and a part of our response has to be a recalibration in how we communicate. We can't take it for granted that people understand what is happening. So we have to be very explicit in our communications to people. And secondly, the immediate needs that are now pressing, we have to address those. And we have to acknowledge that the lagging effect of the pandemic is not just inflation, which 2 years after the pandemic we're still experiencing. 6.2 is just outside of the range that we would want. And remember now, to treat that inflation, we have had to increase interest rates, which has its own knock-on effect.
Come here, Nigel Clark. Come here, sir. Because Nigel Clark tell us that how much we are do good. We are do so good and we are the best in the Caribbean. Our bounce back out of the COVID are the best in the Caribbean. That's when Nigel Clark was defending the 300 pay raise, the politician and them people, and principal and all them people, the people in the upper echelon, them people that get paid, but the busy worker be them not get paid. I want to hear the Prime Minister again, I blame this thing for the pandemic. People never hear the Prime Minister, Nigel Clark come say, we are the best in the Caribbean. Our COVID recovery is the best in the Caribbean. That's why them can give themselves raise. Didn't they? I mean, alone him say so. You know, so I don't need to start read too. But you know, watch the video. It's a video. Oh no, watch the video, Nigel people. And me alone hear Nigel Clark say, our COVID recovery in the Caribbean is the best. Didn't he come out and beat up his chest in support of the pay raise? So you hear the Prime Minister, I'm playing one more time, what am I saying?
And secondly, the immediate needs that are now pressing, we have to address those. And we have to acknowledge that the lagging effect of the pandemic is not just inflation, which 2 years after the pandemic we're still experiencing. 6.2 is
Don't
just
talk
outside.
about that. Hold on there, man. Hold on there. Hold on,
And secondly, the immediate needs that are now pressing, we have to address those. And we have to acknowledge that the lagging effect of the pandemic is not just inflation, which 2 years after the pandemic we're still experiencing. 6.2 is just outside of the range that we would want. And remember now, to treat that inflation, we have had to increase interest rates, which has its own knock-on effect.
So people, in one mode, to give themselves the pay raise, somebody's lying. So both things cannot be true. Somebody's lying, my people. So to give themselves the pay raise, Nigel Clark come tell us that our COVID recovery is the best throughout the Caribbean. And this is the Prime Minister's excuse why he is lagging in the poll. But you see all these mistruths and the facts been shaded and nobody now come clean to the Jamaican people. Jamaican people are catching on. You know why the Prime Minister are losing at the poll? There's a lot of things going on, sir. There's a lot of things going on in the poll. There is a lot of things. So, make you are going so. Make you are going so. With Nigel Clark conversation, when it come to the money when they give themselves the pay raise, listen this. Remember I'm telling you, hold on there. Remember I'm telling you, principal and them people they get paid. That's why I say the principal them need to go teaching at the classroom now and go turn janitor. Because principal them, they get over, principal them, some of them get like over 200% raise, you know. That's why the teacher them mad and left, you know. Because the people who are there to protect the teachers, The government pay them off. Just like your judges. Judges get over 100% raise. All this money need to be rolled back in up, people. I wonder if you believe me. All of this money need to be rolled back. On a picnic money that. Them boy are drive around on a picnic Range Rover. Living on a picnic house, on a grand picnic land, them depend on a thief. Take on a grand picnic money and put overseas. All of them. So here are now, people. Remember, you know, Andrew Honest blame that and his poll numbers, his poor poll numbers, right? And that him blame for it, you know, COVID. When Nigel Clark come out and come tell you, say, we have the best COVID recovery when it was taking that 300% raise from you poor people. Remember, yes, sir, Andrew said we don't have no money, COVID. Still I got through it rough. But you know, remember, say, Nigel Clark already tell me, say, we are the best in the Caribbean when it comes to COVID recovery.
Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of All Angles. I'm Dion Jackson Malone. And in today's program, widespread outrage after Finance Minister Dr.
This is TVJ. Let's give credit where it's due. Miss Dion Jackson Miller. All right? We'll start again. Buenas Carlos.
So much for joining us for another edition of All Angles. I'm Dion Jackson Malone. And in today's program, widespread outrage after Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark announced increased salaries for parliamentarians yesterday. He's in studio with me. We'll be talking to him about that. But before that, Andrea Chisholm has this overview to remind you of the numbers.
If Andrew Honest want to know why I'm down in the polls, it's look at things like this. I'm not reach a SSL yet. Hold on there. If Andrew Honest want to know why I'm down at the poll, it's look at things like this. Keep chipping away at the confidence of the people. You keep chipping away at the confidence of the people who voted for you. Remember me telling you, man, Jamaica people loved Andrew Honest. And the more them love them, man, and the more him slap them down. He just pure turning up, nothing turning down for poor people. So now him come on and like him have to go do better now because I'm down in the poll. So expect any look at type of dance to get on a vote now. From this point on, Jamaica. Expect anything to get on a vote. After almost 8 years, we have not even heard anything about the first 100-day promises. You get one term, no 100-day promises not come true. Second term, no 100-day promises. But you're coming here and telling us this. You think the people are catching on? You wanted to give you one more term again. For what? The 100-day promises? You're telling the people you cannot run on prosperity. So now we are between the promise and promised land. The promise of prosperity, we are between it. We are in limbo. We're in a place where hungry are bite we, crime are kill we, no water, no road, hospital mash up. We don't have nothing in hospital, no MRI machine, no CT scan, Jamaica go across Mexican border. That's the era that we're in now. Between the promise of prosperity to the promised land, what they want, what they expect, we must wait upon them, give them one more term for us to reach. And if you listen to the liberal argument, they must say, we don't understand it, man. You guys don't understand. Things is in the making, but they don't see it yet. We don't see it. We don't see people. We get the promise of prosperity. It has been 2 terms. So we are in between the promise and the promised land. So between the promise and the promised land, appear hungry and gunshot. Sewage water run per road at Jamaica. Everybody around at Jamaica, school and mash up teacher run where police now get paid, teacher now get paid. I pay and they want you to give them another stretch to take it to the where. I promise that. But anyway, this is why Andrew Honest is down in the poll. Because the people are catching on.
Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of All Angles. I'm Dion Jackson Malone. And in today's program, widespread outrage after Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark announced increased salaries for parliamentarians yesterday. He's in studio with me. We'll be talking to him about that. But before that, Andrea Chisholm has this overview to remind you of the numbers.
Listen.
The biggest salary increase will go to Prime Minister Andrew Holness. In 2021, his salary was roughly $9.2 million per year plus a telephone allowance. As of April 2022, it jumps to over $22.3 million. For April 2023, it moves to roughly $25.3 million, and by April 2024, another increase to almost $28.6 million. For the Deputy Prime Minister, the salary was over $8 million for the year, and now it moves to over $20 million in year 1, over $22.7 million in year 2, and over $25.7 million in year 3. For Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, his salary was over $7.4 million for the year, plus the telephone allowance and housing of roughly $285,000. The new salary, over $19 million in year 1, over $21.7 million in year 2, and roughly $24.6 million in year 3. Now to Opposition Leader Mark Golding. He also got the housing and telephone allowances, and the April 2021 salary was over $8 million for the year. As of April 2022, he will get over $20 million. In April 2023, over $22.7 million. And
people, you have to realize how over 300% raise them and you listen to, and more, So when I hear some people talk about the politician get 200%, that's why you hear me always I say 300% raise. You listen to the type of raise that my people are getting. Nowhere in the world. So now people them get all housing to phone allowance. They say okay, phone allowance because government job, government phone. Okay, people don't think so we should have paid for them boy housing. Even Mark Golding, we are paying for Mark Golding housing too. You think Mark Golding need nobody to pay for him housing? You think these guys need nobody to pay for them housing and make so much money off of the back away? Then they give a mama. You think they need nobody to pay for them housing, people? Look what money they might get and we are paying for them housing, them rent, them mortgage, and whatever. And what kind of clock this? They can't pay for them own place. Sucks, man. I think that people have forgot this. You wonder why people, you're down at the poll. We never forget this, mama kuya. Start over again, yeah, man. Piss me off, you see.
His salary was roughly $9.2 million per year plus a telephone allowance. As of April 2022, it jumps to over $22.3 million. For April 2023, it moves to roughly $25.3 million. And by April 2024, another increase to almost $28.6 million.
People,
for the deputy
from 9 to 20, how much? So how much percent raise that? Come here, people talk about 200% raise politician getting. We want to understand why I'm going to people.
His salary was roughly $9.2 million per year plus a telephone allowance. As salary was roughly $9.2 million per year plus a telephone allowance. As of April 2022, it jumps to over $22.3 million. For April 2023, it moves to roughly $25.3 million. And by April 2024, another increase to almost $28.6 million.
3927.
For the Deputy Prime
3927. So it's more than 300% pay raise, Yes, so much money they might get. All right.
The salary was over $8 million for the year, and now it moves to over $20 million in year 1, over $22.7 million in year 2, and over $25.7 million in year 3. For Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, his salary was over $7.4 million for the year, plus the telephone allowance and housing of roughly $285,000. The new salary, over $19 million in year 1, over $21.7 million in year 2, and roughly $24.6 million in year 3.
Police can't get paid. Teacher can't get paid. Garbage can't pick up. Them a boy, when they vote for no rich, no millionaire, the boy never come tell me say they want to turn a millionaire in the office. All of a sudden, they want to turn millionaire per week. And that they run pan. Hospital have to burn you in the MRI machine or CT scan. People are struggling in the country. And them alone, look around them. Them not no heart. You wonder why on the down at the poll, we could continue.
Now to opposition leader Mark Golding. He also got the housing and telephone allowances, and the April 2021 salary was over $8 million for the year. As of April 2022, he will get over $20 million. In April 2023, over $22.7 million, and by April 2024, over $25.7 million. A cabinet minister's salary was roughly $6.9 million for the year. In year one, it is close to $17.9 million, then over $20.2 million, then close to $23 million. Now to the Speaker of the House. The salary was close to $6.9 million. In April 2022, it will move to close to $17.9 million for the year, then to over...
Well, who needs so much blood clots raised? Who the ras needs so much raise one time? Who needs so much peer raise one time, people? You go from 6 to how much? Who you see around the world get so much peer raise? That's why I'm losing at the poor people. Forgive my language. Because I think I boil my blood all over again. Believe me, people, I have an excuse. Believe me. Who needs so much peer raise one time? It's just like he. Me know what me have, this is enough about. Oh, this is all for me. Oh my God. Whoa. I mean, Jesus, if you take more, take more. Can you imagine who gets so much peer raise to rotted people one time? After the back of poor people. Police have to take taxi, go on work. Go take care of a crime thing. You know what, man? I think I boil my blood to ras, you know, man.
Close to $23 million. Now to the Speaker of the House. The salary was close to $6.9 million. In April 2022, it will move to close to $17.9 million for the year, then to over $20.2 million, then close to $23 million. For a Minister of State, the old salary was over $6 million for the year. It now moves to over $14.2 million, then over $16.1 and close to $18.3 million. A regular parliamentarian would make over $4.3 million for the year in salary. It will now move to over $11 million in year one, then over $12.5 million and over $14.2 million.
Jesus. People hear that? People.
Thanks as always, Andrea. And Minister, the Advocates Network has called the increases unacceptable, unconscionable, and unfair. There's been, as I mentioned, wide-scale outrage. Let me just share just a few social media comments. They're holy. Gerald says disproportionate compared to what civil servants got, very self-serving. Kigon says, I don't see the justification for MPs to get such high pay. It makes sense that cabinet members get paid similar to senior executives, but only if they satisfy similar...
Asshole take the money and just dash you away now. Hey, Simonia, what them do it for people? Hurting the country. And the hospital is naked people upon floor. These boys not no rash conscience. People upon floor at the hospital them. The hospital them. People are laying on the floor because hospital don't have no beds. No MRI machine, no CT scan, no burn unit. Hospital don't have no medicine. Anything I'm doing in Jamaica and them come on social media, come beg us in the diaspora and beg a way to come over here, come go to clinic, go to hospital. These boys just give themselves millions and millions and millions and millions for no reason. And I'm okay with that and justified. And expect stupid Jamaicans to go back and put them in an office again. Can you imagine what these raw soul are take when nobody now look? Like we grant money and other money we now see. People, this is before the whole of we, you know. People, this is before the world. This is before the Caribbean. All the Caribbean look. They might get more pay. I know Andrew Willis come talk about in poll number down because of COVID. That's how wicked raw soul.
And Fefen says the percentage increase should match what the civil servants got. Even then, I'd say a caring government would use a median, the average of the lowest and the highest. it would show solidarity with the people you're taxing. We spoke 24 hours ago and you were saying you thought if people understood the background, then they would be accepting of the increases. So 24 hours later, have you been surprised at the level of outrage and anger?
Well, Dan, some of the comments that you have just shared sort of demonstrate that some of the information that we're trying to provide has not necessarily seeped in. And I would want to just start this evening by just making sure we're on the same page as far as information is concerned. What you describe as increases for parliamentarians and ministers has happened in the context of a broad public sector restructuring, compensation restructuring, where that was evidence-based and market-led. And across the public service, one of the common things that we found was that the leadership across the public service, or the compensation in leadership areas, was extremely far from comparators in Jamaica. We're not talking about externally. And what the compensation restructuring was able to achieve, and it's a restructuring, it's not an increase. In a salary increase, everybody gets the same thing. It's a restructuring, it's recomposing compensation in a way that allows us to attract and retain. And for the leadership across the public service, we had adjustments to compensation that were significant. I just want to share a few of them with you. Just give me a minute or two.
Minute.
Well, I can do it in a minute. All right, 1 minute. So here we have the salary adjustments in the teaching profession. For principals of the largest secondary schools, they were paid at 2.9 million to 3.4 million. As of April 1st, 2023, they're at 8.5 to 10.9. For principals of the smallest secondary schools, 2.2 to 2.6 to 5.6 to 7.2. For principals of the largest primary schools, from 2.4, let's just look at the starting, 2.4 to 7. For principals of the smallest primary schools, from 1.7 up to 5.6.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I remember you making that point during the negotiations, but it sounds to me as if you hadn't picked up or you don't understand that there is significant, I'm referring to that, that there is in fact significant anger within those sectors as well, because of what is seen as a huge disparity in what the people at the top have got compared to the people lower down.
Absolutely. And I can address that. I can address that, but allow me to present.
Point doesn't appease anybody who is upset at the parliamentarian side.
Unless you don't understand the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that the adjustments in salaries for parliamentarians and ministers occurs in the context of adjustments to salaries for the leadership levels across the public sector.
I understand.
And then we can, allow me to...
The point I was making, though, is that the concern is that those adjustments as a whole were inequitable in relation to what is now the gap between the leadership and the rest of the...
Once I present it, I'd love to have a chance to address that. In the nursing profession, I'm having the two top levels. The same if you were to go with the top 3 or top 4 out of 8. The persons were at 3.5 to 4.2 million, and now at 9.2 to 10 million. The level 7 from 3 to 3.6, now at 8.2 to 9.5 million.
Minister, you're not comparing, as a colleague of mine likes to say, mangoes and mangoes. You're not, because what you're doing is showing us, for instance, you're showing us nurses, you're showing us teachers, you're going to show us lawyers in a moment, you're probably going to show us judges, you're going to show us what else you have. And the concern is that you are showing us the salaries of highly qualified professionals, and you're comparing it to cabinet ministers.
Allow me to show it. You told me you'd give me a minute to show it. So allow me to show it and then ask me the questions. No, man. No, I just couldn't show all of them.
Don't have to go through
legal officers, 4.9 to 10 and 4.1 to 10.
You don't have to go through all of that to make your point. I understand the point you're making, that there has been...
I just have 2 more.
It's not for you. It's for your watchers. You're making the same point over and over.
It's across the public service. And you're showing...
And I understand that, so we don't have to look at 10 billboards
medical doctors, I have one more. Medical doctors went from 3 million to 8.2, 2.2 to 7.3, 2.2 to 6.3. And I have to show you the civil service.
No, you don't. Let's go to...
No man don't want to hear your bull crap. You piss off everybody with nonsense. People them think about me, you know. Them think about me. Really, really about me as a Jamaican. Them boy vote them in, and all of a sudden them boy want to turn millionaire pound. We want to drive around and we picnic them Range Rover, but the money with them thief. The big old house when they live in away, we picnic birthright. The whole of them forget investigated when this administration come out of office. A judge, prosecutor, everybody will look like them have them hand in the cookie jar. Now come play that tune before we go to the next segment.
Hold me down for
Hold me down. Wait till you hear the next segment with SSL.
can't fool me again. You can't fool me again.
Nothing about me.
You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again.
Rob it from Uno. Rob from Uno.
Sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna in no money, what we at you in no at you. COVID money miss away in the yellow correct you. Use the youth them on the waste and bust a man to statue. Say we like a cash but they got enough they got you. Take this kid from the galan and say that is not you. One day the man above end up him a got a pet. But it in the kitchen some of fiber like a patu. And singers and DJs and social media coming at you.
It burn me.
300% praise.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption face.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear.
Burn me people. When you hear them a chat about sitting and burn them and this and that. And we them a thing about man. Burn it to the core. When they see what money them boy are getting and raising up people. The amount of millions you go from 6 million to 20 odd million. Where the mama Clark they must sit and work? How would they must sit and come from? How would they must sit and come from? Nah, man. So before we go, people only understand that this is wrong. This is sinful. Sinful. After the back of poor people and only vote for them. And look at son and a daughter money that. Look what place on the water Jamaica. Look how the road them stay. Look what the school them teacher can get paid them and run way. Look how Jamaica run across the border. Look how police them now get paid. Eh? Much month now police have irregularities within them salary. Eh? Police will lose all $50,000 out of them check. One pay cycle. And I don't have nobody to go talk to. Look on the garbage on the road. Just look on the state of the suffrage in the country, people. People, let's look good. And these boys are live like them a king. We never vote for no king, people. We never vote for nobody living in a big mansion. That's not the type of work you get as a public servant. You're giving service. You give your life to service. You step up as a patriot for your community. You don't go come in there for thief. Rob up the place. You don't come in there for serve as a humble servant. You don't come in there for get rich. You must say the whole of them get investigated for money. Labour and PNP are them that type of mindset if you have. Not no mindset of low demand, man, the next side do it too. Because when PNP come in there in a tantrum, and the same thing will happen too. We have to hold both accountable. Anybody who hurt Jamaica, the whole of them come in there going, I plan to go to riches. I don't care about no PNP, Labour by PNP. They the same damn thing. They listen to me. After the people who say, they are the same thing, Carlos, I lie you tell. They have some of the same traits. Let me put it right there. They have some of the similar traits. So let me get on with this SSL thing here. Because you are one where this SSL start, that man when you hear the news, what broke out, what came to us. And this is what foreign here. And this is Sportsmax. You know, Sportsmax.
A lady who doesn't work in the financial sector, Mariah.
Yeah, but a lady who doesn't play with her money, and it's a lot of money, George, that's missing. They've basically cleaned out the man's account. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be able to function.
Listen,
I want to read just a little bit from just as background, the viewers, you would have been aware that there has been fraud, not a fraud. There has been fraud of monumental proportions at one of our investment firms in Jamaica, Stocks and Securities Limited, one of the oldest, if not the oldest. I remember investing in Stocks and Securities, Mariah, when I was in third year in university. That was 2004. And I was approached by the gentleman, 2005, the year that I graduated.
Listen.
I was approached by the gentleman whose father founded the firm. So it was Mark Croskery. his father, Hugh Croskery, had founded Stocks and Securities Limited, and I started with them at that time, and it was highly reputable early, and it has forged its reputation over time. But we're hearing now that for at least 5 years, well, 2017 to now will be 6 years. So at least 6 years now, there have been problems at Stocks and Securities Limited. And those those issues came to a head with news that Bolt, among others, had been fleeced of billions of Jamaican dollars, millions of US dollars, billions of US dollars, and that the company, well, billions of Jamaican, millions of US dollars. The company is now in receivership. So the Financial Services Commission, the regulators of the financial sector in Jamaica, they've sent in someone to act as temporary manager.
Right.
So once that happens to the company is dead in its tracks. For those who are old enough of memory to remember FinSac, when Richard Coe, the man who formerly led courts, was sent in as a receiver in the Financial Sector Adjustment Company after the collapse of the financial sector in Jamaica in the mid-1990s. It's a similar situation. So Stocks and Securities will be dead. But Mariah, I'm prevaricating, I'm preambling. Today boasts lawyers, Mariah, and I want to hear your comment on this if you have anything to say, because they wrote, Frater Ennison Gordon, attorneys at law and notaries public, they said to the manager of Stocks and Securities Limited, "Dear sir, we represent the Honorable Ambassador Usain St. Leo Bolt, a retired Olympian, and who we are instructed established an account with you via a limited liability company, which account is in essence our client's self-designed pension." So the lawyers are confirming that this is Bolt's pension that was was invested with Stocks and Securities. They go further. Our instructions are, Mariah, I want you to listen carefully. Our instructions are that up to the 31st day of October 2022, the balance standing to the said account was, listen again, United States, $12,758,181.74. $12.758 million US dollars was in Bolt's account, his lawyers say, as at October 31, 2022. They say, we are now frighteningly instructed that mysteriously our client's said account, which at October 31, 2022 had 12.758 million US, now has $12,047.65 US.
What?
Yes, Mariah.
George, that is ridiculous. There's a massive clean out of his money, and of course, he has a right to give them a time for him to get back his money.
Absolutely. So the lawyers say if this is correct, and we're hoping it is not, then a serious act of fraud or a combination of both have been committed against our client. Henceforth, the lawyers say, we are demanding that this be done within the next 10 days, failing which we will take all legal actions against you and your directors, which action will include civil and criminal procedures. Beyond what the lawyers have said, who have they sent the letter to? They've sent the letter to the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, the Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, the Financial Secretary, Darlene Morrison, the Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Richard Biles, and the Executive Director of the Financial Services Commission, Everton McFarlane. The attorney representing Usain Bolt of the firm Frater Ennison Linton P. Gordon, a very, very experienced attorney. He was one of the stars of the show. I remember it very well like it was yesterday at the Manat Phelps and Phillips Commission of Inquiry in Jamaica. He represented those individuals from the Jamaica Defense Force who were called to make submissions to the tribunal. A man, in common parlance, you can't go around Linton Gordon, a serious attorney, because it's a serious matter.
Serious matter, definitely, George, and I'm hoping that, this is not only 10 days, I would have given them 5. Ooh. 10 days is a lot.
Well, there you go. They've been given 10 days, so the clock is now ticking. Anyway, continuing with the Sports Max, you know what we have?
Sports Max, people. That's on Sports Max. Yeah, do you understand what's going on here, people? It sucks. So, he went Nigel Clark. I say about this. This brother, people, about 6 months ago this, I want to hear the answer all tight. But I like to know what come out of this. What's going on with this SSL stuff? The public would really like to know, Mr. Clark. Nigel Clark not come out here, so it know.
The Jamaican financial sector to the next level. The government of Jamaica
will review the penalty regimes in the Securities Act, the Banking Act, the Insurance Act, and the Pensions Act. We will stiffen the penalties for white-collar crime in the financial sector. The discrepancy between the sanctions for white-collar crime and other forms of crime must be erased. If you rob depositors or you defraud investors.
Look here, man. Jamaican people, they just recently me on about say people have their bank account swiped. Me see people come on social media say their family member lose so much money out of bank account at Jamaica and can't and nobody for answer to them. People, at January this year, this year January. At January, above the SSL happen. You understand me? So after the thing happen, this brother come out. And you see anything happen yet, people still lose their money in account at Jamaica. Don't you see that? Don't you hear it all the time? Eh? How come that is good for the banking systems?
For white-collar crime and other forms of crime must be erased. If you rob depositors or you defraud investors, our society, and you put our financial system and our way of life at risk, the Jamaican society wants you put away for a long time. A long, long time.
That's on weak. That's on act.
The government of Jamaica will also require security dealers to publish their financial statements and material events at standards equivalent to public companies on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The government of Jamaica will tighten regulations around connected party transactions for security dealers. The government will introduce a fixed penalty regime where companies can be fined for AML, CFT, and other breaches. And if they fine and if they don't pay, they go to court. What we have now is that authorities have to take companies through the court process, and only then can a fine be imposed. This will improve the sanctions regime and the speed with which sanctions can be applied, and will the difference in time between when an act is allegedly committed and when a sanction is delivered will be greatly shortened with a fixed penalty regime. The government will tighten regulations around insider trading and ensure that the penalty and sanctions regime is severe and dissuasive. The government will tighten regulations in such a manner that ensures that the penalty and sanctions regime against front running of clients in capital markets is severe and dissuasive. We will require technical assistance from our international partners in the design of these reforms and in advising us of additional reforms that may be necessary.
Look, this brother said, "I do this and they're gonna swift white collar criminals. Everything's gonna be swift." Remember, this SSL saga is only one person is in jail. One little lady who worked there, she's in jail so far. Remember, you know, before she get arrested, she came out and said, she had a problem with it. She will come out with everything in writing. I don't know no criminal before they go before the court. I say, I'm guilty. Look how me do it. These are the steps I took. From there, some I said like it was coerced. They might rehearse that. And she come out there and say, she did it. The whole time I said, she did it. She went to jail because she said she did it. Now listen to me, people. Couple of months after this lady, while this lady in that jail, this lady gave out another statement. I think it's through her lawyer again. Said, remember at first she said she did it? Right? So I think everybody feel good and say, yeah man, she got this. We're good because she said she did it. So we're good, right? So a couple of months down the road, my people, the young lady who is behind bars, she came out and she said, she's not the only one who's responsible for this. She said it's a planned thing. It was all coordinated. She said she did it for the company to save the company. That's what she said. People, you and I know that if we are locked up for a certain crime and you tell the police prosecute, you tell the police, investigator, that, sir, I just want to tell you something else. There's another person to this crime. You think they're not going to get that other person to get them statement and find out where they at and what they're up to? Do you think the police is not going to pick up the person who is an accessory to the crime that have that person in jail? But then again, because the lady behind bars did not point out the other person to be a female, because on the female they lock up in Jamaica quick and fast, you know. When it comes to crooked men, them not going away. Do you understand me? So the lady behind bars, people, said that the owner of the company, Mr. Croskery, is the one who she did it for and is all a part of it. That's what she's alleging. People, up to date, there are no known investigation. If you guys see it anywhere in any article, any documents, anywhere, you guys let me know so we can educate the community. We have not seen anything. Mr. Nigel Clark went as far as promising us a visit from the FBI. And up till now, no FBI. So it seems as if we are hear some stuff.
Institutional arrangement.
We don't want to hear the more you right now, my brother. Yeah? Because what they seem to be telling us is some stuff that don't make no sense. You know? So Nigel Clark told us the FBI will be intensifying its effort. And they'll be leaving no stones unturned. People, it's been from up January, people. It's only one woman in jail. And that woman said she did it for the boss. She said she and the boss is up to their neck in this crime. That's what she's alleging. And I'll know people don't hear about no more investigation. It's drop dead. We don't see Nigel Clark come make we know some hear what the lady say. If they come say, yes, I would have heard what Miss Panton said, and she alone up to her neck in it. But we Jamaican people must not talk about these things. News media, they wish we never talk about this. Look at the people. And they wonder why the privates are losing at the poll. Listen to this.
That's Finance Minister.
God thinks that people now pay attention.
Will be left unturned. That's Finance Minister Dr. Nigel.
What?
No stone will be left unturned. That's Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark restating the government's commitment to the investigation in the No stone will be left unturned. That's Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark. No stone will be left unturned.
All right.
That's Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark restating the government's commitment to the investigation in the multi-million-dollar fraud case at Stocks and Securities Limited. The minister notes, before he made the announcement of the FBI's inclusion, investigative bodies were already collaborating with the Bureau. Since then, Dr. Clark says the FBI's involvement has been solidified into the investigations and will only get more aggressive.
In the briefing that I have received, based on developments, the FBI is going to be intensifying their involvement even beyond what would have been thought.
That's all I call, hey, you see that stuff on our plate? It sounds to me like when Nigel Clark is not being clear with the truth, it kind of crack up. You notice? You notice the last clip I played? I know you listen to this. It seems as if whenever the truth is not coming out of him clear enough, him crack up. People, and these people expect if we come vote for them, we could start from top. Listen good.
Stone will be left unturned. That's Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark restating the government's commitment to the investigation in the multi-million-dollar fraud case at Stocks and Securities Limited. The minister notes, before he made the announcement of the FBI's inclusion, investigative bodies were already collaborating with the Bureau. Since then, Dr. Clark says the FBI's involvement has been solidified into the investigations and will only get more aggressive.
In the briefing that I have received, based on developments, the FBI is going to be intensifying their involvement even beyond what would have been thought when I first made that statement.
The minister notes the ministry has already written to an international partner for assistance with forensic auditing, and the government of Jamaica is prepared to foot the bill for their involvement.
If somebody wants to give us, we will take it, of course, right? But this is so important. We are going to allocate the space in our budget to make sure we can procure.
People not no money, Them boys just waste some money, Remember the FBI will do it for what? Free. The FBI will do it for free. They have all the tools of everybody. But them boys have to cover them corruption, them hurting us again. Them already hurt people by taking their money and their life savings, In order to cover corruption, they're going to hurt us some more by taking money from us to get the people who them want to selectively come and do the auditing. People who can point us say, audit the bottle, audit the paper, audit the book, audit the sky. The FBI is not going to take the push on and point round. The FBI is going to follow anywhere the truth go. They might follow the lead anywhere you take them. You understand me? So that's why them give away free for money. So you see, all your corruption, whether that is coming from elected officials, can cost us money. They already hurt the people at SSL, You understand me? Who invested up in there, And Prime Minister Andrew Holness took his money out of SSL before everybody lose their money, And you're nothing on that, no investigation. People is just a corrupt Shanagwana, Jamaica. It's hurting the people. So this brother here.
The best international forensic experts that we can find.
You see?
And since then, Dr. Clark says the ministry has identified a firm, and the procedures involved in contracting said firm are already underway.
The cyber resources and cyber forensic resources.
So all this man come out of mouth. So the FBI is intensifying its operation. But at the same time, you tell us about some other firm we are coming from England. We are going to waste some money too. And the FBI will do it for free. So let me hear what Sports Max have to say about Nigel Clark and the investigation. Because them people are wicked, And if you know these things, they send a 9-day talk from the show, We are pull them up and dash them out every now and then, like a dirty water. They didn't get hide boy.
We continue to discuss the issue of the multi-million US dollar fraud perpetrated against Usain Bolt in Jamaica.
Listen.
Earlier on Wednesday, the country's finance minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, voiced his disgust at the situation.
What are the people? Do you think Nigel Clark is disgust? Nah, man, I don't think it's disgust, man. There's no disgust I come from that, man. I pure gamesmanship I go on that, man.
Clark voiced his disgust at the situation.
Like all Jamaicans, I am in shock and feel a profound level of anger and disgust at the alarming and evil fraud that has allegedly been committed at Stocks and Securities Limited, and which is a source of public discussion and anxiety at this time. At the same time, I have great confidence in the investigative authorities to unravel all aspects of this and bring all perpetrators to justice. At this time, it's tempting to doubt our financial institutions, but I would ask that we don't paint an entire hard-working industry with the brush of a few very dishonest individuals.
People still lose money.
Jamaica is the leading financial center in the English-speaking Caribbean, and we will do everything in our power to protect Jamaica's position in this regard.
And then this statement, it didn't come over the signature of the BOJ governor, but obviously he had to endorse it for it to be sent out. It says, the Bank of Jamaica takes note of recent reports of alleged fraud involving financial institutions. The central bank is concerned about these developments and their potential to negatively affect confidence in Jamaica's financial system. Bank of Jamaica gives the assurance that it's supervised the deposit-taking institutions, commercial banks, building societies, and the sole merchant bank in Jamaica remain adequately capitalized and liquid, and that all deposits in these institutions remain safe and secure. The central bank's ongoing regulatory oversight remains rigorous in relation to financial institutions supervised by Bank of Jamaica, namely Bank of Nova Scotia Jamaica Limited, Citibank, NA, First Caribbean International Bank Jamaica Limited, First Global Bank Limited, JMB Bank Jamaica Limited, JN Bank Limited, National Commercial Bank Jamaica Limited, Sagicor Bank Jamaica Limited, Scotia Jamaica Building Society, Victoria Mutual Building Society, and Cornerstone Trust and Merchant Bank Limited. These institutions, the BOJ says, are required by law to have all their assets and liabilities recorded on balance sheet. So yeah.
People, my thing is, where is Nigel Clark with the reports on this investigation? Where is this investigation going? Where is it at? And what Miss Panton said, the boss, she alone. How come we don't hear nothing on that? I mean, Mr. Nigel Clark never hear that. So these videos must not be a 9-day video. Come more while you know, so we do a video and it's just a season and the moment and every vlogger talk about it. And after time, everybody just gone, leave it alone and victims still suffer. Nothing said. So every now and then we'll pull up these videos, people, and dash them out in the road like dirty water. Because me, the Prime Minister talk about today, he might not say him not good in the poll, but he also blame it on COVID. When them already tell me, say, we good, we are the best, and when it comes to recovery from COVID in the Caribbean, that is why them give themselves 300% raise. And that them tell me, you know. And now Prime Minister Andrew Holness has said, him lagging in the poll is because I hangover from COVID. Take it as you like, people. But, you know, me just have to bring these things out there. So tell me what you're thinking in the comment section about all that you know. Because education is key. There are so many people walking around Jamaica and they don't know all these things, you know, people. As much as it's all news, they still don't know about it. However, people, thank you so much for tuning in. As usual, I am a student in your guys' class. Make sure your comments make sense in every sentence. If this is the first time on this platform, you like what we do, me and the people in the comment section, go ahead and subscribe and make this place be your home. You don't have to do it right now. You can go check other videos I already did, so you can always make a fair choice and come hang out with us. You see me, people. And if you don't like what we do, don't come on the back of do, the back of trouble. Hit the button and find another page of the rage. Yeah, me to all at this stage.
The money them a thief.
A lot of people me looking back, sorry. My God, burn me in a man. Have a cool off. No,
Can't for me again.
no, sir.
You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very
Wickedness
long
by the
time.
poor people.
Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You got chop line and a resort to crime. You can't for me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. COVID money, me say we eat the yellow rat you. Use the youth, them on the waste, no must have man statue. Say we like a cash, but they got enough, they got you. Take this script and money, girl, and say that it's not you. One day, the man above end up, him not got up. Too much eating at the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. The singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% raise.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption peace.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't for me again.
Want to know why I'm Miss Panton alone in a jail? When she say, and she alone in a it. She said she do it for the boss. She and the boss tonight and she do it for the company. Some want to know why I'm Miss Panton alone locked up in a jail because she a female. Maybe if she did say our co-conspirator was a female, them not creep her and that two man in a jail now. But because our next man in Jamaica, we always are protecting Nazi man in Jamaica. Look here, why a Panton alone in jail? Why we don't hear about this investigation? You don't think we are going with it? Look here, my life fire under this cloth again. Think we are playing? Revisit these things. That's all.
Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. COVID money, me say we in the yellow correct you. Use the youth, them money, waste no bust a man to statue. Say we like a cash, but they got enough, they got you. Take the money, girl, and say that is not you. One day, the man above them up, him a got a break. But it in the kitchen, some a fly well like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% raise.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption fees.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out with each.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The already promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, them rough and they down in a whatever. Member bowl honey and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell go mash up people stand and thief when them sell.
It burn me.
When they treat the market man.
It burn me.
When them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
When they treat the peanut man.
It burn me.
When them a treat the dirt man.
It burn me.
When them a treat the sun man.
It burn me.
When them a treat police.
That's all. Yeah, man, they burn me, man. But raise them boy again.
Can't fool me again.
Burn me, you know.
You can't fool me again.
I raise it for roll back.
Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't
All
buy
the churches
lime.
them.
Can't buy
I'm
scallion,
praying
we
that,
can't
you know,
buy time.
to me.
You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. COVID money, me say we in the yellow correct you. Use the youth, them money, waste no bust a man to statue. Say we like a cash, but they got enough, they got you. Take the skin from money, girl, and say that is not you. One day, the man above end up, him a got a break. But it in the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% raise.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption fees.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The already promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, them rough and they down in a whatever. Member bowl honey and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell go mash up people stand and thief when them sell.
It burn me.
When they treat the market man.
It burn me.
When them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
When they treat the peanut man.
It burn me.
When them a treat the dirt man.
It burn me.
When them a treat the sun man.
It burn me.
When them a treat policeman.
It burn me.
How them a treat soldier man.
It burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy
People.
scallion, we can't.
You know, say I work for video me do and a daily. But at the longest, a long time I don't know a video really burn me so enough people. I swear to God, I not tell you no lie. I do video that burn me every day. But a long time I don't do a video really burn me so. When I really look back on the amount of money them boy I take for themselves. And I give everybody around them to keep them quiet. To be them look out. To be them bidding. And the poor people run us a suffer. Hospital don't have MRI machine, people. People, come on now, man. Come on now, man. This bigger than politics, man. Come on, man. It's a national sin thing, man. Jamaica. Them boy I take. Man, I go from $6 million to $20 million people. Almost $30 million people. Who get them the type of raise in a few years, people? Jamaica people. Jamaica people. Can't pay police on time and pay police enough. So we'll ever buy MRI machine and CT scan and burn unit? Or we'll ever pick up garbage? Or we'll ever have good roads? And Andrew Unes want no while, wonder why him a dropping at the pole and I can blame it upon COVID. These are the little things Jamaica people are catch on to. And look here, I will continue to remind the people because we remember for long, we easily forget stuff. We are easy to forget stuff. So when they have to bring these stuff up because it's no 1 day, no more for cars, no more 9 days stuff. No, people must come out of that cycle. People must get out of that cycle. I'm begging you guys. Get out of the cycle of that 9 day stuff. And we run gone left it and something else pop up in the news and we chase it down. Yes, we are not, because so much stuff pop up in the news, people. Vloggers have so much material, people. We are overloaded. But guess what? We need to get up out of that. We need to stay on topic or even go back and revisit some stuff and dash it back out there. You know, remind the people of some stories. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me big up a few of you guys. Debbie Jervis, Arlen Foster, big up yourself, Arlen and Debbie. Fancy Face, Wagwan, big up yourself. Big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself. Gloria Morris, Wagwan, Gloria Morris. How is everything? Patricia Matthews, greeting sister. Yard Night, Wagwan there. Rels White, big up yourself and blessings. Blessings to the family. Bless up to the family. I hope one day we all can meet and have a barbecue. Is that nice, you see? If we all can meet one day, I will have a barbecue. Or just hang out for the day. That's a wonderful day. Just yammings and drinkings. No, we're not talking about drink and drive. No. You gotta get chauffeur driven. That's how we, yeah, man, big up everybody I saw. Yeah, Cynthia B, big up yourself. You know. Bless up yourself, each and every one. People are telling us, Carlos. Ben, man, can't cool, man. He burn me, man. People, they get burned by my finger. They may cook. And it gone now. It has, my finger them strip off, you know. You know, you can see. You guys see it? Yes, you guys can see it. Yeah, my finger strip off the sun, man. Burn, man, from the pot. Anybody who know about pot, they like, look here. Every accident can be prevented, you okay? So I blame myself. Anyway, I get burned. so people, so I get the burn, yeah? You ever say sometimes you get some burn and you can't cool, you know? Sometimes some people get hot and they can't cool. Like this burn I get on my finger right there, so. People, all 3 fingers. All 3 fingers, people. You know how long this about me? For hours. People are hot at cold water. Me have been in now. If I take my finger out of cold water, it starts to bow. Cold water saved my life. The amount of pain, people. So, as some feel right now, this heal already. This is good as you can see. My skin, I get back the color and everything almost. You can see it. You guys can see it. See that? Yeah, man, burn myself, man. And guess what burn me? The steam out of the pot. You think of hot water? The steam out of the pot because I lift up the pot cover. Wrong! It's a different type of pot cover, and the pot cover we have is a dangerous pot cover. I think the manufacturer should make that type of pot there. And the type of pot we use. But you understand, we never use the pot clot. So we get burned. So, people, but this has sitting there burn me. You see like I'm hurt tonight, the burn tonight? He burn me, man. I don't know how I'm going to get cool tonight. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I first me laugh, but it's a good thing on my smile. But they burn me. You know when you get burned, you can't cool. This couldn't cool. This family finger couldn't cool people. Can't cool. Can't, you know, like that. He said, Jesus Christ, all my finger them cool. But this burn right here, can't cool. We get more burn, we get major burn than that before, you know, when I look a boy. I promise to give you that story one day, you know. Yeah, man, I promise to give you guys that story. I really promise to give you guys that story. Me get burned more than this before as a little youth. Me and a young boy. Yeah, me about 8, 9 or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, people, love you. They born me. Let me play a song one more time, man. Cock off before me left here, man. And you know that song cool me off, people? Me say anytime me hot, you see that song there? It kind of cool me off. It a play it purpose. So true, it a do it thing. Anytime me angry, people, or me not having a wonderful day, me always can go for that song there. You know? And it kind of cheer me up.
Every day up here.
Yeah?
Can't fool me again. You can't
One more time, baby. One last time.
You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again.
Boy, salary burn me. I swear to God.
Hold me down for
we can't fool.
Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime.
Nah, go
you
cool.
touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, in no at you. Go be money, miss away in the yellow correct you. Use the youth, the money, waste for most of man statue. Say we like a catch you, but they got in a figure you. Take this script and money, gal and say that is not you. One day the man above end up, him a got tablet. Too much it in the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. My singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% praise.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption face.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
Come say dig up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The 100 the promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, they rap and they down in a whatever. Member bowl money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police dog a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start like thief when them sell.
It burn me.
When they treat the market man,
It burn me.
when them a treat the cat man,
It burn me.
when they treat the peanut man,
It burn me.
when them a treat the jerk man,
It burn me.
when them a treat the son man,
It burn me.
when them a treat policeman,
It burn me.
how them a treat soldier man,
It burn me.
how them a treat everyone.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again.
Can't fool me again, people. I love you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a wonderful night, guys. And let something pop up. I'll see you tomorrow. But you know, Jamaican Carlos, I have no special time to do videos, guys, for you new people. If I go to my bed and I get up 3 o'clock and I feel like something about me or me might dream something, I come do a video, people. I have no special time to do a video, people. I could have 1, 2, 3 o'clock from now till the morning, people. But as for now, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. That's all I know right now. Peace out.